Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on Dishing with me, Heather D. And I have another great meal for you. And I know it's been a long time, but this is well worth it. This is going to be delicious, and guess what? It has a little twist. I'm making a nice, delicious Salisbury steak with gravy and bell peppers and onions. But the twist is it's vegan. I'm using some of this Beyond Meat. Now we're going to see how this turned out. So not only we're going to have our Salisbury steak, but we're going to have it with some potatoes and some broccoli. So this whole meal is going to be vegan. So let's see how I get this put together, and I hope you watched the whole thing all the way through, because I believe it is going to be perfect for that little change that you might want to try in your life. Not everyone, may want to do this method, but it is going to be a delicious meal, and I guarantee that you will enjoy it. So stay tuned and watch. We're going to start out with our Beyond Beef, and I have 2 packs here. They are each 20 grams of protein and other ingredients to give this a nice meaty flavor. And I'm going to use both packs and just place them in a bowl here, and I'm going to do a quick seasoning. You can add bell peppers and onions if you like, but I'm just going to use some simple steak seasoning, and I'm also going to use a little bit of my really delicious, one of my fave go-tos, liquid hickory smoke. This is going to give the meat patties a really nice flavor, as if they have been barbecued. So we have some liquid hickory smoke, and we also going to add a little bit of rosemary. We kind of want these patties to have like a burger flavor with a little bit of a sausage flavor. So we're going to mix this all together really well, and after we combine this, we are going to form our patties. So this is where I get a separate plate, and I just begin forming the patties in my hand. Now, because these are going to be completely vegan, I'm not adding any egg. I'm just going to go ahead and let the natural consistency of the patties hold its shape and everything. It should hold, which it does. When I finish the recipe, you will see at the end. Without the egg, it did hold its shape and everything. So you just form them to the size that you like. I am making approximately 10 of these little patties here. I did take a little bit and make a very small meatloaf form for my daughter, because for some reason she can eat it in meatloaf form, but she can't eat it in a patty form. But hey, kids are kids. So what I did is, after I have all my patties and my little meatloaf form, now it's time to cook it. My pot here is already nice and hot, so what I'm going to do now is add some of this vegan butter, which is the Earth Balance, and you can add to your discretion. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm adding approximately 2 tablespoons to this pan here, and I'm going to let those melt some, and I'm going to add, of course, the lazy route. I'm going to add some already pre-chopped bell peppers and onions that I got from the store. Now, if you want to take the time out to cut your bell peppers and onions, it is quite alright. For a little extra flavor, I did add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Of course, this is optional. But like I said, you could use it to your discretion. With the little balance of the olive oil and the vegan butter, it kind of helps with the moisture, because with this not having any natural fats, you want to add some type of fat to it. So I'm adding my bell peppers and onions that are pre-chopped, like I said, from the grocery store. And this is just a really quick step to avoid the hands-on chopping, and you don't have to worry about your eyes crying as you cutting up your onions and stuff. But if you don't mind doing that, and sometimes I don't mind, but at this point I was just looking for a quick route. So we're going to just saute this for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we go ahead and we add our patties. Now remember, there is no egg in these because I'm trying to keep these totally vegan. So you definitely want to take your time and placing these patties into the pot with your bell peppers and onions, and I'm just gently applying them in there, and they're just gonna sit there because I want them to pre-cook before I decide to start moving them around. Once you start moving them around a lot, it loosens up, and then you'll end up having more like a ground beef texture. So I covered this and I let this pre-cook for about a good 10 minutes. Now for the cauliflower and the broccoli we're going to have on the side. You can pretty much prepare this to how you like. So what I have is a steamer here, and I'm just going to place 1.5 bags of my cauliflower, and I'm going to also add my broccoli florets, and these are just going to be steamed for about a good 5 to 10 minutes, at least until they're not frozen anymore, because I really don't want them to be too mushy. I kind of still want them to have a nice little bite to them. But like I said, you can cook these to your discretion. And once I have these inside of my steamer here, I am going to add my water, and I'm going to lightly season them by adding a little bit of Cajun seasoning. And the Cajun seasoning is going to give it such good flavor. Here I am adding my water, just enough to cover the bottom, and we're going to do the seasoning, and we're going to let these cook. Although I did forget to mention, I did use a little bit of lemon pepper. Lemon pepper on broccoli and cauliflower kind of give it a really nice freshness about it. It's not what you might typically put on your broccoli and cauliflower, but it really does give it a nice little flavor. So that Cajun seasoning with a couple little dashes of lemon pepper really helps bring out the bright flavor of the broccoli and the cauliflower. So I just added a little bit of those two seasonings, and the Cajun seasoning had enough of the salt, so I did not add any salt to this. I just cover it and I place it on the stove, and we're going to let this steam, like I said, for about 5 to 10 minutes, or until fully done without it being too mushy. Now we're going on to our potatoes. So I have a couple bags of these little sunbursts, or these little red bliss potatoes. And this is such a quick and easy fix when you don't want to cut up a lot of potatoes. Yeah, just use these little ones. Such an easy task. Now I'm going to pour some water though over them. No, don't forget, even though they look clean, you want to definitely rewash these babies, because you don't know what kind of leftover residue might be on there that might have been missed. So these potatoes were washed, and now I go ahead and add the water to them. Now, of course, these are going to be herb mashed potatoes, so I'm just adding a little water to this. But of course, I'm going to season this water. But before I flavor and season my water, I am going to use a knife, and it's going to poke a little holes in them, just so that way some of the flavor from the brothy water is going to get into those potatoes. I'm using some of that Better Than Bouillon vegetable broth, and it's going to add really good flavor to these potatoes while they cook. Now, if you're not making these vegan, you can add chicken broth or beef broth, depending on what dish you're preparing. But like I said, this is a vegetarian dish, so I'm using the vegetable. Once you get your broth seasonings together, you want to we're going to go ahead and cook these for about good 15 to 20 minutes or until the potatoes are fork tender. And just turn this on and let them cook. I didn't use the full 2 bags, so I have a half a bag left, and those will be used for probably a different dish. But those are the potatoes. Now to check on our beef or our vegetarian Salisbury steak. Look at these babies. Don't they look like real hamburgers? I mean, look at the texture. And because I did not move these around in the beginning, once I place them into the skillet, now it holds their shape. You can move them and maneuver them, and they're not falling apart at all. Like I said, because these do not have any egg to help hold it, once you put your meat inside there, you really don't want to toss them around too much. But it held its shape, and look at that. They are so beautiful. The patties, they look good, but now we need to work on a gravy. So that is the next step. That is some good broth right there. So for our gravy, we are going to use some of that Better Than bouillon. I'm also going to use some of this vegetarian McKay seasoning that gives a nice imitation beef flavor and a little bit of cornstarch. Now, if you want, you can use a flour and then do the whole homemade gravy that way by adding a vegan butter and sauteing and adding, your broth and stuff. But this is just going to be a quick version of the gravy that I'm planning to use for this dish. So what you want to do is I'm going to use about a good 1 to 2 tablespoons of this McKay seasoning. Now, because this is kind of a highly salty seasoning, you don't want to use too much because it is loaded with salt for flavor and seasoning. You can omit this step if you like, but I wanted that extra fake beefy flavor, if you want to say. I'm adding a little bit of cornstarch to here, and then of course I'm also going to add that vegetarian the vegetable flavor to this mixture here. And once I get all 3 of these combined, I am also going to go ahead and place this into the microwave. And this is before I place it in the microwave, I'm going to add some water, mix this up, and then place it in the microwave. Once I place it in the microwave, I'm going to heat it up to at least a good 1 minute, just so that way the cornstarch and everything can break down to make it easier to thicken up inside once we pour it over the beef. It is approximately a cup and a half. It's not a full 2 cups. Because it's going to finish cooking and multiply or add to the broth that's already inside of the pot. So you can see that. And I probably could have added some more cornstarch to thicken it up, like I said, but I really didn't think about it. No, now for a little extra flavor, I'm adding just a few dashes of vegetable seasoning. This is just something I got from our health food store, and it really kind of add a really nice flavor and give a little bit of greenery to it. So I'm just moving and stirring things around a bit, and then you're going to see me add our gravy mixture. Now, unfortunately, during this time, I don't know, I guess I forgot to push record, but I did add the gravy mixture, and I went ahead and let this cook and simmer for about another 5 minutes. I'm sorry, but I did add the gravy mixture to this. So now for our mashed potatoes. Our potatoes are well done, and I'm going to add a little bit of unsweetened plain almond milk. You definitely got to make sure that it's plain and that is unsweetened almond milk. You can use oat milk, or you can use whatever milk, rice milk. I'm just going to go ahead and add this into my measuring cup, and then I also have for seasoning some salt, pepper, and a little bit of our vegetable seasoning that I showed you earlier that we used in the gravy mix, and some earth balance. You can use to your discretion of how much of a buttery flavor you want your potatoes to have. But remember, we did cook these potatoes in some of that Better Than Bouillon broth concentrate, so the potatoes itself is going to have some good flavor. I placed the milk mixture into the microwave to let them go ahead and get hot, because we wanted a nice warm and hot mixture with the potatoes versus adding cold milk to hot potatoes. So you see the vegan butter has melted some, but not quite how I wanted it, which I didn't quite realize until after I poured it in this first time. But you want to, once you get your milk mixture really good and hot, you want to add it to your potatoes. And we're just doing like a rough draft or just a quick mash. We're using the masher, or you can use your mixer and, you know, give it a more creamy texture. This is more of the russet look that I was going for. So once I mash it up real good, then I go and add my seasonings, the salt, pepper, and vegetable seasoning. And you do it the same way you pretty much do your mashed potatoes. Although I really miss adding sour cream to this, but I tried to keep it totally vegan, so that was the whole idea. Next, we are now taking our vegetables off of the burner. They have completely cooked, and just for a little flavor, we're going to, of course, add some of our Earth Balance vegan butter. And this is going to help us have that nice buttery flavor that we're used to having with our vegetables. You can toss this in a little bit of olive oil. I did not have any vegan cheese. I probably would have tried that to add vegan cheese, but I tried to keep it simple. So this is pretty much it for the vegetables. I did have to add a little bit more salt to it because I couldn't really taste too much of the salt flavor. But the vegan butter did finish melting onto the vegetables, and the seasoning had already soaked through the broccoli and cauliflower. And that is the end of this dish, of this whole recipe. We have our vegan Salisbury steak patties with a little bit of the gravy. Didn't even think I probably should have made the gravy a little thicker by adding extra of the cornstarch, but I left it the way it was. But I went ahead and got my plate because I'm greedy like that. And I'm going to go ahead and scoop up these mashed potatoes and put them onto my plate. And I am also going to get me my vegetables, the steak, and the little brothy gravy that I made. You know, hey, you live and you learn. You can, like I said, add some flour to thicken it up, but like I said, I'm greedy. I left it just the way it was. But look, looks like a real beefy patty. And this is all vegan. I was so proud of myself. Don't it look beautiful? So now for the taste test. Okay, you all. I know you see me in something different because actually this is like the next day. I didn't get a chance to record myself finishing it up and everything, but I gotta tell you, this is my very first time doing a completely vegan dinner, not using any type of animal product. This is my first time, and I figured I'd try something different for all of my vegan and vegetarian eaters out there. I mean, I like to try all methods, not just, you know, the fleshy type. I like to try, you know, plant-based as well. So let's see how this came out since it looks so delicious. I mean, here's a close-up. I mean, not a single animal product, as you saw. So I'm going to taste this mashed potatoes. That's good. Okay. Taste a piece of this meat here. Looks like real hamburger, doesn't it? No meat, no animal products. I did that, y'all. Our vegetables are perfect. This vegan dinner is delicious. This is good. You guys, you're gonna have to try this recipe. It's really tasty. I'm just eating away. Everything is full of flavor. Whether you like meat or don't, you're looking for something different, this is good. Because I do eat meat, I can tell the difference that it's not animal. But the flavor, if you season it right, I think you can get away with it. Because I season this mug good, and it is very delicious. So, if you like this video, please click like, share, subscribe. This is just a little demonstration video I wanted to try on a vegan meal, and I really, really love it. And this is perfect to make if you have vegetarian or vegan friends to come over to your house, or if you want to just try something different. It's delicious. Look, this plate is almost clean. It is so good. Like I said, you know what to do. Click like, share, subscribe. I'm coming up with more recipes, and I really appreciate all the love of you guys, all the new followers and all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. Feel free to share this with anybody and everyone. I really, really appreciate all the love, and I thank you to all my current and all my old subscribers for continuing with me on this journey. I thank you, and I really, really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great day. God bless and stay safe.